In this video, I'm going to show you how to open 350Z taillights.
This set here is just the aftermarket set, but this strategy does work for the OEM set as well. We're using this because this is the one we're going to modify. First off, I'd like to start with showing you all the tools that you'll need. Okay, let's start over here on the right side. Obviously, we're gonna need the taillights that you're gonna use. Like I said at the beginning, this is gonna be based on the aftermarket set, but it works for the OEM as well. Next up is cling wrap. I use cling wrap to protect the lens and keep it pristine. As you can see, there are no scratches because it's brand new. I wanna keep it that way. Next up is gonna be some sort of cutter. We will be cutting the lens off. So I am gonna use the Wonder cutter. It's an ultrasonic cutter, creates a very thin cut. Really like it for these kind of projects. If you don't have it, this is about $400. If you want a cheaper option, go with a Dremel. The diamond bit is about 20 bucks. The Dremel is probably 100 to 150. That's a really good combination and it'll get the job done. It just makes a little more dust. Next up is gonna be some flatheads. I really like these pocket screwdrivers. They get in really, really thin areas pretty easy. You know, just various size Phillips head screwdrivers. After that, shoe goo or goop metal adhesive. This stuff actually holds super well, stands up to heat really well. You know, driving around in the Texas heat, you're probably gonna need to keep that lens on, don't want it to melt. This stuff ain't going anywhere. After that, keep it watertight with some silicone. I prefer the black silicone, and I always go with silicone 2. Silicone 1 is more likely to shrink up and break down. Silicone 2, we've never had an issue with. And before I forget, there is one more tool that I like to use on every single build that I do. It's these rubber mats right here. It just protects the lens just in case something happens, you know, if you drop it too hard or do something. Real nice to have. All right, first step, cling wrap. We're gonna go ahead and put cling wrap on this lens right here. Cling wrap is done. Okay, step 2, I'm gonna show you the exact cut line that we do. Basically, all I do is I go in right in between the housing and the lens. This is why I like using the ultrasonic cutter because it's so thin. As you can see, these two are almost touching. If you cut back here, you'll be able to see it through the lens. There is one problem area with the 350Z taillight that we have cracked so many times in the same spot. Right in this area right here where it has this pretty crazy angle, has a tendency to want to crack right through here. It goes like that almost every single time. Time to cut. Got that all cut. I always start on the opposite side. This side right here, it's a safer bet to start from this side. If you run into a spot that won't let go with very little pressure, just cut through it again. You'll save the lens. Really glad I went ahead and cut through that again because now it's lifting up. Oh yeah, there we go. Boom. After you've modified the housing, it's time to put the lens back on. Before I put the lens on, I like to use compressed air to just clean all the dust out and get all the debris off. Now that the inside is clean, you can put the lens onto the light. Now, it's obviously still gonna be loose. I get some tape to set in place. And now that it's set in place, we can add our adhesive. You can use shoe goo or goop. I do it in several different spots all the way around the light. Wipe off all the excess. You don't want excess glue sitting on the housing. It just looks really bad. Okay, so we've got a couple of spots of adhesive all the way around this. We're gonna let that cure and then we're gonna come back and do silicone. Once you have it all glued, it's time to actually seal it up so that it's completely watertight. So when you're siliconing it, what you're trying to do is just put the silicone in between the lens and the back housing and making sure that it looks clean. So when I'm doing this, I like to have a rag on hand so that I can wipe off the excess silicone. This right here will help you have a cleaner finish. You don't have to do this if you don't want to, but if you want it to look a little more OEM, you can do this. I like to tape off this section right here on the fin and on the lens. It just helps keep it clean. So I like to run a bead all the way down, really trying to make sure it's getting in between the lens and the housing. And wipe the excess multiple times. Go ahead and peel the tape. And now you have an OEM looking finish right there. Well, minus that cut line. It's the same for the rest of this, but you really don't need to tape it off as the lens does hang over a little bit and it's easier to keep clean. Okay, and that's completely sealed up. That's how you open and reseal a 350Z light. Quick tip that I like to do, I like to mask off most of this inside and leave just this part showing. Paint this black or whatever color you want so that you can't see this cut line. You cannot get rid of this cut line. I've tried many different techniques to try and open this without seeing that. Not possible. Just go ahead and paint it so you can't see it. Unless it doesn't bother you, then leave it. Okay, bye.